Hey guys, this is Craig Migliaccio with acservicetech, and today what we're going over is a 2-hose vacuum setup versus a single hose vacuum setup to prepare copper tubing for refrigerant. Now in this unit there is refrigerant in this outdoor unit, but it's trapped and it's held back by these service valves. On these ports right here, the copper tubing and the evaporator coil, there is no pressure, so that's where we're going to be vacuuming at. And we're going to do the 2-hose setup first, and that's going to give an advantage for the single hose. So we're going to time it, we're going to compare how long it takes to do these processes. So the first time we're going to pull it down into vacuum, and we're going to break it with nitrogen and bring it back up to 0 psig, and then we're going to do the single hose and we're going to time that as well. So we're going to do that comparison, and we're going to break this vacuum with refrigerant from the bottle. Now in these hoses there are no valve core depressors, so there's no restrictions in here, and we're going to be removing the valve cores at the ports here with the valve core removal tool, so there won't be any restrictions to slow the vacuum down. Make sure to check out our refrigerant charging and service procedures for air conditioning paperback and ebook, both available over at our website at acservicetech.com. We also have the paperback available over at amazon.com. Now I'm going to go and put this setup together, and we'll time it. So I take the caps off of the ports, and I'm using the end of the valve core removal tool in order to pull out the valve core. So I'm pulling out the valve core to make sure that there is no restriction at the port pathway, because the inside of the valve core would restrict the flow of the air that I'm trying to pull out of that tubing. So it's just a very, very small opening when you depress on that valve core, so you really want to make sure that you take those out so that you don't have to have a very long vacuum, and that you're more effective with pulling any moisture out of the system. So then you're just going to go ahead and mount the valve core removal tools onto the ports, and you don't need the ends during the vacuum procedure. So you can just put the ends with the valve cores off to the side, and then you can put them in a container or something just to make sure that they don't get dirty. Now with the vacuum gauge, I always add a valve core removal tool to the front of that, just to make sure that I can valve that off before breaking the vacuum with refrigerant. So the reason for that is just to make sure that there is no oil that's going to get into the vacuum gauge that can contaminate the sensor. So if it contaminates the sensor, it's not going to read the vacuum gauge properly. It's just going to be a frustrating ordeal. And I can't tell you the last time that I had to clean that vacuum gauge. It's been an extremely long time. I can't even remember. And the reason for that is because I use that third valve core removal tool to always protect that vacuum gauge sensor. So this right here is a 1/4 inch hose, and it's just a standard hose. There's no valve core depressor in the ends, and it's just a 2-foot hose. You could use a 3/8 inch hose, and then you have the 1/4 inch on both ends. This one right here is a 3/8 hose with a 3/8 end that we're connecting into the vacuum pump, and then the other end reduces down to 1/4 inch. So that's nice. We always put the 3/8 hose. If you have a larger hose, you're going to put that onto the suction line, since that's a larger tube. After you're connecting, you want to make sure that you're just going to check all your connections, and just to make sure that they're all snug. So we have our hoses set up, and this vacuum pump doesn't have a gas ballast, so we're just going to go ahead and turn it on. But if it did have a gas ballast over, say, on the side here, what you're going to do is you're just going to open up a little bit and then turn the vacuum pump on, let it run down to about 10,000 microns, and then you're going to shut it. So what that does is the gas ballast saves the oil in here from the initial moisture that's being pulled out of the system. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on now. During this vacuum, I have the time sped up to twice as fast as its normal rate, and you can follow along with the actual time right there on the cell phone. Now this vacuum is going to pull down fairly quickly, and the reason for that is because on these standard split systems you have a metering device halfway down the refrigerant tubing. So the metering device is located right in front of the evaporator coil. So if you're pulling from both sides, you're able to remove that moisture from the system fairly effectively. Now you see that I'm just turning these valves off and then turning them on, and the reason for that is just to make sure that there's no air trapped in the little ball of the ball valve. So sometimes when you do that, the micron level will rise, and you just want to make sure that you do that. I usually do that once at 1000 microns, and then once again right before I'm valving off the vacuum pump and hoses from the system to just check during the standing vacuum test. So you're going to see that in just a little bit. We're going to pull this down to right about 200 microns. So here we go. We're going to just turn these all off once, then turn them back on. And now we're down at 200 microns. So now we're going to go ahead and valve these off and turn the vacuum pump off. Now we're doing the standing vacuum test. You're going to see that the micron level rises to 300 microns, but that's not due to any problem. That's just the vacuum equalizing from both sides of the tubing. So that was our 10-minute standing vacuum test, and that proves that there's no moisture in the system, there's no leaks, so there's no nitrogen, no air, and this is what you're looking for. And as long as that micron level didn't continue to rise, you know that you don't have any moisture in the system, and that there's no leaks. Now we're going to break this vacuum with nitrogen from the bottle, and we're going to flow a little bit through here. So we're going to take this micron gauge off, and we're going to be adding our nitrogen right over here. So not only are we going to bring it up to 0 psig, we'll flow a little bit of nitrogen through the system, and that also helps in reference to moisture as well. Then we're going to do our single hose vacuum setup. Normally we just stand these nitrogen bottles up, but in this case I'm just going to show you what this looks like. So we just disconnect right here. So on this gauge right here, we're reading about 1600 psi, and over here we just have this set at about 25. We have our valve off, but now we're going to open this up, and before we put our nitrogen in, I'm going to shut this off. I'm going to allow the nitrogen in, and you see that this is off to the vacuum pump. We don't need that much nitrogen, so just a little bit. So now we're back up at 0 psig. I also am purging the nitrogen through this whole tubing, and now we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to shut this off here, back this out, and now we should be at 0. I'm going to close this and close this just to make sure that no air gets in the tubing, and we'll set up for our single hose vacuum setup. So for this setup, we're just going to put the micron gauge on the liquid line, and over here we're just going to have a cap. So you only need 2 valve core removal tools for this procedure instead of 3. I always like to valve off my micron gauge, just so you know why I use 3. Typically is so that I can valve off my micron gauge so I don't get the refrigerant oil inside of it, because what will happen is that'll contaminate the sensor. So that's why I do what I do with that. But in this case, just so you know, this is going to take longer even though we already vacuumed it once, and that's because the thermostatic expansion valve is halfway down the middle of this tubing, so it's acting like a restriction. So if we pull a vacuum from this side only, which is the large side, so you're still going to be pulling through that little orifice, basically, the moving orifice inside of a TXV, just to get over to this side. So you just want to make sure you have your cap on here snug, and this hose right here we're going to disconnect, and we're going to put the cap back on to the vacuum pump. In case you're wondering, this is a 1/4 by 1/4 hose. This one right here is a 3/8 end and a 3/8 hose and a 1/4 inch end. So this is a reducing vacuum hose. So the larger the vacuum hose, the faster you're going to be able to pull your vacuum down. So you're aware, this line set right here is about 20 foot long, going over to an existing evaporator coil. So the evap coil, the line set, is the existing tubing that was there. It does have a new filter dryer, and we're going to go ahead and turn our vacuum pump on. So I'm going to open these up. Our micron gauge is already on. So it's going to take quite a while just in order to even get down to 1400 microns, and to get down to that level it even took about 4 minutes just to get down to there. And then you're going to notice I'm valving off the valve core removal tools one at a time just to get rid of any air that's in those valve core removal tools for later. So we don't want to have that air in there when we go to valve off the vacuum hose later. So you can see that we're only at 1080 microns even after 15 minutes of time. Now this system has a TXV. If you had a piston, you might be able to pull a little bit faster, but at the same time, you are still able to pull through that metering device. I just wanted to show that it really does take a lot longer to pull a vacuum, regardless of which other method you use other than a two-hose setup. So it's also better to pull a vacuum with just the two hoses and not the manifold gauge set, if possible, too, because just of the restrictions and possible leaks that you could have in that. So I may let this run, but we'll see. But we're about 15 minutes, we're almost 16 minutes now. So while we're waiting for this vacuum level to pull down, I just wanted to say that, you want to have a dedicated vacuum setup. So your vacuum hoses set off to the side, and this way you don't use them for other stuff, and you know that the grommets are good and the valve core removal tools are good, and you know that you're not going to have any type of frustrating vacuuming experience. They're always going to work at that same level. So if you notice that you're having a problem reading your micron level, then it could be a problem with the system and not your vacuum. So now you see that we've reached 400 microns. It took over 50 minutes to get here. And so that's that. We're going to shut this off, shut the pump off. Our micron gauge just shut off on us, but now we're doing the standing vacuum test, and I'm just going to go ahead and start it. So there's our 10-minute standing vacuum test, and you've noticed that the micron level actually went down, and the reason for that is while the vacuum was running, this side was being pulled into a deeper vacuum than this side was, and while it's sitting here during the 10-minute standing vacuum test, the vacuums have equalized. Basically, they are now at the same micron level. So that's why this one went down. Now we're going to go ahead and break this vacuum with refrigerant from the bottle. I'm just going to use up a leftover of an older R22 bottle. So if you can see on this gauge right here that the pressure is actually about 75 psig, and so the saturated temperature it's saying for R22 is 45 degrees. So that's not right. And you can see it's 82 degrees outside, so it should be reading a saturated temperature of 82. That just tells you that this bottle is completely empty of liquid. So there's only a little bit of vapor left in here, so I'm going to be breaking the vacuum with just the little bit of vapor that's in this R22 bottle. So this is an R22 system right here. So I'm going to use the scale, although I really wouldn't be using this for just trying to get rid of the refrigerant that's in the bottle that's left over. So it's only vapor, so it's only a little tiny bit coming out, but we're going to just weigh it and just to see how much refrigerant does come out. We'll leave that right there for just 1 second. We're going to attach this to the refrigerant bottle, this hose right here. On this end, I don't have a valve core depressor. I'm just going to hook this in. I'm going to shut this valve. Now, normally what you're going to do when you're breaking a vacuum with refrigerant from the bottle is you're going to turn it upside down so that liquid comes out. But in this case, right here, it's only going to be vapor. So now I do need to purge the air out of this hose. So I'm just going to open this just a little bit just to get any air out. All right, so now I just have refrigerant in this hose. I'm going to set this on the scale. And to zero the scale out. So it is zeroed. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to hook this on. So I still have my vacuum trapped right now. So I'm not going to tighten it all the way because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to purge this last little bit of air out. Okay, that's that. And here we go. So that is negative. I don't know if you can see the negative sign right there, but we are putting a few ounces in. But this is a good way to be able to use the leftover refrigerant in your almost empty R22 bottle instead of recovering it, especially since now R22 is going to be hard to get your hands on. So that's that. So now we would just take these caps off here and here and move the inner stem upwards in order to allow the rest of this R22 that's in this system into the line set. Then we would start and check the unit, attach our refrigerant gauge sets after replacing the valve cores here and here in order to just verify that our charge is correct. I want to show you one last thing, and that's in reference to replacing the valve cores once you're done. So now what we would do is we would shut this off and shut this off. We are at positive pressure in this system now. We have our valve core. We're going to screw that on. Then after that, we're going to open this valve and we're going to purge the tiny little bit of air that's right there. All right, that's that. And now you're going to press this in. So you could do this without the gloves on, but now what we're going to do is we're going to shut this, take this back off, and then we're going to open this up. We want to make sure that it's not leaking and that the valve core didn't seat right. So then we can put a little bubble leak detector right in the end right here, and if there's no bubbles after a minute or two, then we are good and we can just go ahead and remove this. And then we're back to what it should be looking like in the beginning. So then you just want to make sure that you put this valve core back in over on this side, just like you did over on this side. So as you can tell, the two hose setup worked really well, and we just used these two hoses, but you could use these two instead. So this is a 3/8 hose with 1/4 inch ends. So you could really tell a big difference in the amount of time it takes to pull a good vacuum. In fact, with the single hose setup, we only pulled down to 400 microns. And that was after about 50 minutes. If you're looking for any of the tools that I have here, I have them all linked down in the description section below. I have them all linked individually there, and I also have them as a large list over at amazon.com/shop/acservicetech. Make sure to check out our refrigerant charting and service procedures for air conditioning paperback and also ebook. We go over the system preparation for refrigerant, checking the refrigerant charge, and also troubleshooting methods. We have both of these books available, the paperback and ebook, available over at acservicetech.com, and we have the full outline available there. This paperback is also available over at amazon.com. Hope you enjoyed yourself. We'll see you next time at AC Service Tech channel.